She was standing at a door, protecting a room full of teenagers, when someone put a gun to her head and pulled the trigger. Not because she was in a gang, not because she was in the streets, because she said no, because she told a group of masked men they couldn't come in. And that was enough for them to end her life. Brittany Members was 38 years old. She was a mother. She was the kind of parent who showed up not just in words, but in action when her daughter, a senior at Crispus Attucks High School, wanted to celebrate prom night. Brittany didn't just let the kids do their thing unsupervised. She was there. She helped set everything up. She decorated the garage, laid down a red carpet, put up banners with her daughter's name on them. She made it feel special, safe, like a real celebration. Her father, Hollis Members, even stopped by earlier that night to drop off food. Before he left, he pulled Brittany aside and told her to shut the party down early. Something in him felt uneasy. She heard him. She just didn't get the chance to act on it. The party was at a short-term rental on North Park Avenue in Indianapolis, a big 2-story yellow house on a quiet, family-friendly block in the Meridian Kessler neighborhood. People who lived on that street described it as a good neighborhood, a safe neighborhood, the kind of block where you don't expect to wake up to gunshots at 1 a.m. That night, though, the street was packed. Cars lined up and down the road. Music, decorations, teenagers and their families doing what teenagers and families do after prom. Word had spread the way it always does, through school, through social media, through friends texting friends. Most of the people who showed up knew the family. Some had graduated already. Some were relatives. And then there were some who had no business being there at all. Hours before the shooting, Brittany posted a photo on Facebook. She was using the name Brittany Grundy on her profile, a name she carried because of her half-sister Sheena Grundy, who shared the same mother. In the photo, party-goers were standing in the driveway in front of the decorations, holding up guns. 2 large semi-automatic rifles with banana clips. Handguns. The photo was meant to be a flex, just people showing out for the night. But what it actually did was broadcast the location of that party, along with the weapons inside it, to anyone scrolling. And someone was watching. If this is your first time here, welcome to Crime Files. Like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a story like this. We talk about the cases that deserve more attention, this one especially. Now, let's get into what happened after midnight, because this is where everything falls apart. Just before 1 a.m., a group of men showed up at that yellow house. They weren't invited. Nobody knew them, and they were wearing ski masks. Think about that for a second. Ski masks at a prom party in May. These men weren't there to celebrate anything. They came with a purpose. They walked up the front door and tried to push their way inside. Brittany was right there. She blocked the entrance. She looked at them and said, "You can't come in. We don't know you. You're not getting in here." And according to her father, one of those men looked right back at her and said, "So we can't come in?" And then he fired a shot point blank into her head, right there at the front door, in front of everyone. While her daughter's prom party was happening inside, Brittany collapsed. And that single shot was just the beginning of what turned into an all-out war on a quiet residential street. Neighbors who were asleep woke up instantly. One resident said he heard so many shots going off at once that he didn't even register it as gunfire at first. He said the screams that followed were what made it real. Another neighbor looked out her window and saw something that sent chills through her. A white hatchback was slowly backing down the street with its headlights completely off. No lights, moving slow, like the driver was watching, waiting. And then when terrified teenagers started pouring out of the house into the street, running and screaming, that white car crept forward again, and the shooting started all over again. This was not a random drive-by. This was calculated. The attackers fired once to force people out into the open, then repositioned and fired again to catch them in the street. There were 3 separate volleys of gunfire that night. 2 from the attackers, 1 from people inside the house who started shooting back. By the time IMPD officers arrived, there were nearly 100 shell casings scattered across the ground, bullet holes across the front of the yellow house. A stray bullet crossed the entire street, went through a neighbor's front window, through a couch where his son always sat, through a wall, and stopped at the back door. 3 more people were shot that night besides Brittany. 2 of them made it to Methodist Hospital on their own. 1 was in critical condition. Another was stable. A 4th person was hurt just trying to get out of the house. And Brittany, she was rushed to a trauma hospital where doctors and nurses worked desperately to save her. They couldn't. She was pronounced dead that night. Hollis members got the call no parent should ever receive. And here's the thing that breaks you when you hear it. This was the 2nd daughter he lost to gun violence. His other daughter, Sheena Grundy, had died in 2016 in a murder-suicide at the hands of a man she was with. 2 daughters, 2 funerals. 1 father sitting in his living room making arrangements for another child he shouldn't have had to bury. Now here is where the story gets complicated, because when people started piecing together what happened, a name kept coming up, Grundy. Brittany used the Grundy name on social media. Her half-sister was Sheena Grundy, and a cousin, Richard Grundy, had been the leader of one of Indianapolis's most violent and feared drug gangs over the past decade. The Grundy crew, as they were known, had been connected to multiple murders, narcotics trafficking, and shootings throughout the city. Richard Grundy himself was currently serving federal time on a narcotics conviction. His own daughter had died in an accidental shooting while he was locked up. Associates of the crew had been killed, wounded, or imprisoned. One of them, Eric Butler, known as Lil E, had just been shot at a tire store on the east side. The violence around that name never really stopped. So when people on social media started connecting the dots, the theory spread fast. This was retaliation. Someone targeted the party because of the Grundy name, because of who Brittany was tied to, even loosely, because the streets don't always stop to ask questions before they act. But Hollis members shut that theory down directly. He said his daughter used that name because of her mother's side of the family, not because she was part of anything. He said it flat out. This has nothing to do with that. This is something totally different. And as of now, IMPD has not made any connection between the shooting and the Grundy family's history, which means the real motive is still out there, still unknown, and that is deeply unsettling. Because if this wasn't gang retaliation, if this wasn't tied to some old beef, then what was it? Who were those masked men, and what did they want inside that party bad enough to kill a mother at the door? The investigation is being led by Detective Christopher Winter at the IMPD Homicide Unit. The property itself created its own controversy when it came out that the short-term rental on North Park Avenue was not even registered with the city. It was owned by a company out of Fort Wayne and booked through an agent in Castleton. The city confirmed the owner had 30 days to come into compliance before facing penalties. A community meeting was held with IMPD and local counselors to talk about what happened and what rules needed to change around short-term rentals being used for large parties with no oversight. But none of that brings Brittany back. Her father sat in an interview days later, still in his suit from the funeral home, and said something that stays with you. He said no one is coming forward with information. He said people on the street know things. People at that party saw things. And nobody is talking. He said this is what keeps killers free in Indianapolis. The silence, the fear, the code that gets dressed up as loyalty but really just protects the people who do the shooting. He also pointed at Indiana's permitless carry law. He said everybody is carrying guns now and nobody needs a license. He said people are killing and getting away with it and something has to change. And he is right. But right now, in this moment, none of the right things are happening. No eres. No suspects named publicly. No motive confirmed. Just a yellow house with bullet holes in it. A red carpet rolled up and thrown out. A daughter who will never see her mother again. And a grandfather who has buried 2 children and is still waiting for someone to care enough to pick up the phone. So let me ask you something before we wrap this up, because I think this case raises questions that go beyond just what happened on North Park Avenue. Why is it that a mother standing at a door, doing the right thing, protecting teenagers, saying no to strangers, is the one who ends up dead? What does it say about where we are as a society when showing up as a parent puts you in the line of fire? And what does it say about us collectively when people who were at that party, people who saw those masked men, people who know exactly who was in that car, are choosing to stay quiet while a family buries their mother? Who owes who loyalty here? Because from where I'm standing, The only person who showed real loyalty that night was Brittany, and she paid for it with her life. If you know anything about what happened on North Park Avenue on May 3rd, 2026, please contact Detective Christopher Winter at the IMPD Homicide Office at 317-327-3475. You can also leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana at 317-262-8477. Anonymous means anonymous. You don't have to give your name. You just have to decide that her life mattered enough to make that call. And if this video made you feel something, if this story hit you the way it hit me, please like this video, subscribe to Crime Files, and hit that bell icon. Because every time you do that, it helps more people find these stories. And these stories deserve to be found. Brittany Members deserve more than what this world gave her. The least we can do is make sure people know her name.